Alright. Well, I don't know if anybody's watching this, but I'll record it anyway for my own purposes. So, turns out, the run that I thought was starting on Monday is starting tonight. And I got Blue Mage. Which is interesting. I don't know. I've never really been a fan of the Blue Mage, so I'm interested to see how it'll work. So according to the rules, and this is for some reason a few people that know this more than I do don't like it. I don't know why. You are not allowed to use Freelancer. Because that's a different job. I was not assigned Freelancer, so all my dudes have to go Blue Mage right now. So, alright. You will notice I will be going a lot slower.
Not today.
Sorry, just getting texts. I'm going to be going a bit slower because I'm not familiar with Blue Mage, so hopefully it doesn't hold me up too much. But more specifically, I'm reading up on where to get some of the good early Blue Mage spells. So, apparently, they are suggesting I go back to... Okay. Get some blue magic from this... Oop. So this is something I've often wondered about Final Fantasy V. You actually can get in fights...
Not today.
Now, where is that? Oops, that's not it. Well, upside it's 3 goblins. Actually, it's preemptive strike, which kind of want them to goblin punch. That's not a goblin punch. They're just attacking. This is the other downside to 4 blue mages. You're going to be doing a lot of defending. I'm hoping, it is my hope that if one person learns Blue Mage, they all learn Blue Mage. Or Blue Magic, they all learn Blue Magic. And the friend that got me into this is curious about how he didn't know the run had started. Ah, I knew something. I could have sworn I saved a shortcut to him. There we go. Alright. They used Goblin Punch, which means down you go. Victory! I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting distracted. Alright. Learned Goblin Punch, and I believe that means all of them? Oop. Let's just check somebody else to make sure. See, he did not learn Goblin Punch. Or was I in the wrong magic? I was in the wrong magic. Herp derp. Okay.
Die, potato. Not today.
Okay, I can't. Oh, that's how I get there. I have to go the long way around. It's also recommended, due to the way Goblin Punch works, that I'm going to try. It's recommended that I try to keep my level around 5. There we go, steel bats. I may need to damage them, won't I? Hit the one in the back row. There we go. There we go. Vampire. Who knows? Might learn Claw. Learned Vampire. Even better. So the goal, I think, is going to be to try and save my level to 5 due to the idea. If I get to, I think it's called, I don't remember his name. I could move everybody to the back row too. So cool. Bam. So unfortunately Cleat is already level 5. Not sure where this battle is they're talking about. The other concern, in case you're wondering why I'm not running away, there are 2 Amazo weapons in the game. One of which is called the Chicken Knife, the other of which is called the Brave Blade. And I'm not sure right now which one will be better for my party. And the Chicken Knife gains power for running away, and the Brave Blade loses power for running away. So it really depends. If I end up needing the Brave Blade, I don't want to have a bunch of runs early because that basically negates the power of that weapon. There we are. So all the blue mages. Oh yay, the pirates all want grog. It's awesome and cool and stuff and things. So this is one of the parts I was talking about earlier. If we go into the pub and ignore all the pirates, because why would we talk to them? If we go upstairs, and they're gonna check and be like, holy crap! So, yeah, well done, guys. What's wrong with Dinkus and Dorcas? Nothing. Yeah, so that was one of the ones I was talking about. Of course, the run I was watching earlier today, I don't know if you guys were watching as well. D-Run. Those guys are really amazing players. They beat the game in around 11 hours, which is pretty amazing. I think the guy who won beat the game in 11 hours 5 minutes. The quote-unquote loser was very short behind by 45 minutes. He was behind by 40 minutes, I think. Oh. That was unintentional. I just bought 5 broadswords. Awesome. I'm amazing. I'm almost tempted to reset for that. Like, holy crap, that's, you know what, I am. Let's reset the cartridge. Seriously. What the heck? That was nuts. Love the game. Go back into the town. Listen to the stupid pirates. This time I will not bother going and talking to Ferris, because I showed you guys what that was all about. It's rather silly. And Gilgabot has not seen my stream for some reason. There we go. That should do it. Not like I think a ton of people are going to watch, but, you know. Wow. This time, let's buy 2 broadswords. That seems like a thing, right? Everybody's got a leather shield. 2 people need caps. Everybody's got leather armor. See ya. Oh, quickly equip. I guess we can't wear shields anyway. No reason to stop by the magic shop. There's nothing for blue mages anyway. I think the biggest disappointment, in a very loose sense, about getting blue mage as your first job is it precludes you from getting white mage and black mage. And that's unfortunate, right? Like, having a white mage, well, it slows you way down in the early game, makes the end game considerably easier because you just have healing magic. Healing magic, access to breaking rods. Like, I know I can do that with blue mage as well, but my father was interested in crystals. He also spoke my name as though it were a question. Not sure why everyone does that. So as I was saying in the last video, it starts rather slow, but what can you do? I think there's anything else in here. I've already bought all my equipment. Now I've slept for the night. Kind of just gonna race for yes, the inn is quaint. Pub has the item shop? No, it doesn't. Wow, that was really early in the game for me to be fucking lost. Yes, I am new to this adventuring thing and not merely telling you that so I can come in and steal stuff like Phoenix Downs, tents, potions, gil, ether. Go upstairs and fight a monster in a box. Oh my gosh, it's a trap! Did not think that was going to happen. Oh, Goblin Punch is so far down the list. I should really set myself to auto remember mode. Config. Set the speed lower. Oh. Actually, I'll set that to standard. Cursor position, remember. Auto dash on. There we go. Thanks for stopping by. Was there no item shop? Weapon and armor. Hub. magic. That's fascinating. I didn't realize that. Nowhere to buy potions. Okay, I better... Oop. Thought this was muted. Just gonna turn that off. So I can watch my stream, but not interfere. More story. Because the wind crystal allows birds to fly. Fires lost their heat. It's like a creationist wrote the script for this game. He still lives! Alright, I'm just gonna save. First rule of RPGs, ladies and gentlemen. Save early, save often. Don't think you should save? Probably you should save. Don't want to say you should definitely save. And I'll use this key thing that nobody else knows I have and not tell them where I got it because we're a party. Why would we trust each other? Ha 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 ha. Does it matter? Well, yes, if you murdered the old man who gave us shelter, we're probably less likely to... Ah, never mind, let's go. Battles. Oh, wow. This is actually really unfortunately bad for me. And I didn't equip Ferris like a derp. Oh, let's hope I can learn that. That would be kind of brutal. For the Octokraken. Apparently I can't learn that. Alright. these guys can equip shields. I wonder why. Showing them all as equal. That's really weird. I've got a whopping 2 potions and an elixir. Let's see if I can get through here without needing it. Nope! Oh wow. Well, vampire is going to save my ass. Bam! Bam! Oh yeah! Okay. You know what? I'm okay with Blue Mage now. So the math on Vampire is it's missing hit points divided by 2. So if I am down by 20 hit points. Oh, everybody's gaining check. Now, check. Oh, she doesn't have it yet. Check. What it does is it checks an enemy's hit points. Optimizing equipment. Thank goodness. I was worried about that. I missed one. Optimizing equipment. So silly. And we'll go down here. So the trick with it, with Vampire I mean, is it can never heal you to full. That's not something it's capable of doing. It can, however, as you notice there, save your butt. So things like check, the interesting thing about this game, for those of you who haven't played before, and have decided that your first walkthrough should be with me, wow, you made a bad choice, but that's okay. Things like check, now that I've learned it with these characters, even if they change jobs. So when I get the next crystal and I get my next job randomized for me, if you were playing on your own and just decided, you know what, don't need 4 blue mages, let's go for 3 blue mages and a white mage, the white mage could now know check and be able to check the enemy's hit points. Not overly useful, but it's something. Other classes have more interesting abilities. Higher level has more interesting abilities. So, yeah. I'm kind of wrecking this guy because my characters are still level 5, I think. No, he's level 5 too. Wow. Like, that was fun. Goblin Punch gets a multiplier of 8 if you are the same level, and that enemy was level 5. So if I'm level 5 and he's level 5, Goblin Punch gets an 8 times multiplier, which is just ridiculous. Yes, the party telling her how her own best friend that she grew up with is going to handle this. So I do wish that, like the guys who were streaming today, if you guys didn't get a chance to watch it, that speedrun was kind of cool. Those guys did a lot of planning for their run. I'm not. That's why I'm going to take breaks and do research every once in a while. But those guys did a lot of planning. They knew what they were getting into. So that's kind of cool. Their overlay, which is what I have discovered that sidebar that I'm using is called. It's called an overlay. I drew that up in Photoshop in like 2 minutes. grabbed the Forge Out Fiesta logo and the sprite animations because those are all over the internet. I don't own those graphics, by the way, in case somebody comes along and is like, is he claiming to own? No, I don't. I'm just going to update that every time I get a new job. So that's why Bart's looks like he is a blue mage, because that's the crystal that Bart's is, and that's the job I ran him from that crystal. Everybody wake up. We are docked somewhere for no reason. It's a graveyard, which means undead. Because undead are fun. Okay, I don't think there's anything down here for me. But just in case I'm wrong. Oh, I'll rest. One person in the bed, the rest of us have coffee all night. Brilliant. That's kind of funny. Alright, so off we go. I don't think there's anything else in here. Bye, boat that I just got. We hardly knew ye. I'm not entirely sure if any of these guys have any blue magic to get me, but I'm going to be fighting specifically the skeletons. Like, I'm going to be fighting enough of these assholes, I just don't care at this point. Doesn't really matter. Not to mention, by and large, a lot of things tend to be... It's my understanding that a lot of things tend to be immune to their own blue magic. Not all the time, like goblins still take damage from Goblin Punch. But there are some that... Well, especially when you get to the more elemental-based ones. If they use a water element, they're probably a little bit resilient against that. Ooh, tent. Let's go into the water because we hate ourselves. Are you going to melt or something? So yeah, there are some upsides for Blue Mage, specifically early game. Vampire and Goblin Punch go a long way. The fact that Goblin Punch is based on weapon damage, so my broadswords are doing work from the back row is kind of sweet. Vampire to heal me up if I get low, which is kind of sweet. Can't quite heal you to full, but you know. I'm not throwing away. So yeah, the biggest upside to Goblin Punch, aside from the fact that it's, well, you know what, there's no biggest upside, it's all upside. Goblin Punch is a spell, does magic damage, costs 0 bloody mana, uses your weapon modifier, so when you find better weapons, it upgrades your spell. Does full damage from back row. It's just all upside. Also, apparently, I'm able to breathe underwater now. Preemptive strike. What you mean to say is he is so screwed. Oh! Okay. Pro tip, guys. Don't do what I just did. Vampire on undead is bad. I healed him and damaged me. Oh, that was bad. Okay, so we'll use one of my 2 Phoenix Downs. There should be one of them there save point things in the near future. Yeah. I'm not sure if everything here is undead. I'm going to take a gamble on this thing. Nope. And that burns my 2nd Phoenix down because what the heck? Well, I guess it is a ghost shipyard thing. Read the label on the package. Excellent. So that's a hole there. Oh, wow. Now I'm going to try and vampire these guys. They are called Undead Husk. Fool me once or twice, shame on you, but fool me 5 or more times, and son of a bitch. Luckily, with my guys in the back row, these guys don't hit very hard. We will throw legions of severed goblin fists at them. Probably not what they intended to mean by goblin punch, but very funny. So, there you go. Yay, rest up. I don't get how she has dry clothes. That doesn't make sense to me. Assuming she was carrying them with her, we were underwater for quite some time. And now we're gonna go strip clothes off her, even though we already checked her in the hotel room and figured out she was female. will talk at great length, whether you want her to or not. So, probably a bad thing that I lost both of my Phoenix Downs before the boss at the end of this area, but yeah. Hit the save point. Use that new shortcut I discovered. I'm pretty sure that at the point I went down, I could have gone back and gotten something else. As much fun as streaming is, and I am very interested in the idea of setting this up for posterity, I do wish I had some interaction. See, because there's also that down there, right? And it's a Phoenix down. That's funny. I'm gonna just see if a friend of mine wants to Skype while I do this, because why not? Hear his commentary on the game too. Okay, so, new thing we learned is called learning. Maybe you'll learn lick off that. Did not learn lick. Free rest. Because why not? I obtained the world map. Do doodly do do do. Best chest ever. I get a ship. Or part of one. More story. Really hoping that Siren is not undead. Because that would be very counterproductive. Oh, yeah, all the hinting at how Ferris and Lena are sisters. Forever. And it's the first time we get to see Krill. Oh no, they're blue fire. It's a little dark. We want your soul. So just so you guys know, easiest way to get somebody's soul back from a demon, slap him in the face. Silence. Wow, that could be a little bit problematic. Something that the guys actually were saying on their stream today was it's very awkward that there is like no cure for silence. Isuna, I think that's it. If you have white magic. Apparently, silence doesn't prevent me from casting blue magic, though. So, go me. I'll just keep pounding you. Might as well test this now. Haha, it does actually do healing. That's good to know. So if anybody gets under 50. Oh, now she's undead. Well, crap. To use the flame scroll, and I wasn't paying attention. Awesome. I have no idea. Wasted around to do that. Didn't help. Holy cow. Yeah, we need an antidote. Low hit points I can handle, but poison will kill me. Oh, she ceased being undead. And I will fully take advantage of that. This fight is mostly just going to be longer. Oh lord, and she cures herself. Oh, vampire twice in a row. And she's at full. I thought that was impossible. I might have misread that math. Or the math was for a different game. Blue mages have been used more than once. Unfortunately, right about now, I could really use the ability to drain her. But now that I know that this phase wears off, ooh, that's not good. Last antidote. And he's gonna go down. Oh, that sucks. Oh. Well, he's not gonna go down soon. Oh, she went down. Sweet. That is pretty slick. Exaggerated laughy face. Do the 10 thing. Do the save thing. Probably going to stop this segment of the stream. Ooh, if these guys use their thing, that would be even better. But some point after the second crystal, probably right after the second crystal. Debating, yeah, you're just gonna defend for a little bit. Pretty sure. It's just attacking. I'm pretty sure these guys have a spike move that I want to learn. Nah. Die. Okay. Pretty sure the town is below us. Wow. Levels for everyone. Further south. Here we go. You know what? Really not that impressed. I'm using Xbox 360 controller, by the way. And I'm really not overly impressed with how it's handling in this particular application. Wait, you came from the ship graveyard? You must be ghosts. Because all ghosts are super polite and such. Always hit up weapons and armor first. Because that just chewed half my money. But damage output is commendable. Curious times 4. I always pronounce that word curious, by the way. Not sure if that's the correct pronunciation, but so there's some increased offense and defense, which is kind of sweet. Not a bard. $1,000 gold. Glad you say the same thing when I'm behind the counter. And not, you know, hey, what are you doing behind the counter of my bar? Is there anything upstairs here? Nope. Frost rod. Rods, by the way. Those of you who are new, if you equip a frost rod, my attack goes down by a lot, so I'm not going to do it right now. But rods are basically going to carry me through this game, because if you equip it and then use it as an item, it breaks, so you don't get it again, and then it casts the most powerful of that element's spell in the game. So, for a mere investment of, I think there's 750-ish gold each, it's just ridiculous. It really, really is. 25 of those. 5 of those. 5 of those. 5 of those. Don't have enough money for the rest. Down to 8 gold. Well, alrighty then. And went the wrong way. There we go. Oh, I leveled up. That's what the damage multiplier does, ladies and gentlemen. Went from doing 340 to these guys to doing 86. Wow. And there's the damage multiplier going on the other side. Victory! Gaining levels all day, every day. So. Pardon me. And we'll tent it save it. And up we go. Rock slug. I wonder if that's something like related to a rock lobster. More Phoenix Downs. Kind of want to learn Cat Scratch. Pretty sure it's learnable. Oh, there it is. That'll do it. Somebody getting beat stick in the face with it. And I did learn it. Yeah. And I cast Vampire again, which is probably going to net me 0. Herpaderp. This is why I tend to multitask, by the way. I'm enjoying this. This is a fun game. But I kind of wish that we're playing on the other screen right now. Like a movie. Or a TV show. Or something of that nature. Or had somebody talk to you. I mean, I'm talking to you guys. Well, I'm kind of talking at you guys, if you know what I'm saying. There's a difference. There's no interaction. Can't bounce my ideas off people. Have people tell me I'm wrong. You learn more things by having someone tell you you're wrong and having to defend a position than anything else in the world. And I really like learning. It's a passion. I am somewhat of an autodidact, and I taught myself that word. In case there are any of you who don't know what that word means, it means I am a self-teacher. I do really well teaching myself things, learning for myself from the internet. It's not to say I can't learn any other way. That's not true. It's just to say that I do find it easier to learn at my own pace, if nothing else. I've recently completed a 2-year accountancy program. It was enjoyable. I did learn a lot of things that I did not know before. I had several instructors who were amazing and put up with my inquisitive mind and constantly asking them why things were the way they were. I think that's maybe, I think, why I had such a problem with formal education in my youth, is gaining the knowledge feels less useful without the why. Like, you can teach somebody to do their taxes. I've done it before. But to understand why some part of the tax code reads the way it does, what the government is attempting to do. They make this person out to be the bad guy, like, horrendously badly. It's actually kind of funny. But learning why the government has set up the tax code in the way that they have, learning why what the point of a tax is. Dick Armey, the U.S. Senator, has said that the only just tax is a tax to raise money. So the idea, like, okay, so when you start getting into things like, I'm trying to think how to word it. When you start looking at things that, like, there's a sin tax in Canada on alcohol and cigarettes. When you buy alcohol and cigarettes, those things are taxed quite heavily because you're doing something that the government doesn't want you to do. Now, the sin tax, arguably, is an unfair tax because it's not trying to raise money, it is trying to change behavior. And that maybe shouldn't be the purpose of a tax. Now, it could be argued, because I do live in Canada and because I do benefit from free healthcare, it could be argued that people who use people who use cigarettes and use alcohol will contribute more to a fund that, in theory, they will use more. In the sense that if you smoke, you are more likely to need our medical system for things like, well, lung cancer in the worst case scenario, but even the lesser lung issues that people have. You will need the medical care system more than someone who does not smoke. Similarly, if you drink heavily, you will need the medical system more than someone who does not drink, simply because your liver is going to fail earlier. Now, there are tons of flaws in this reasoning. Number one, Tylenol has no sin tax. If I eat enough Tylenol, if I am a daily user of Tylenol, if I get headaches quite often, which I do on occasion, I do tend to take more, in my case it's ibuprofen, that is similarly going to do damage to my liver. And I am not taxed for that. So why do I not have to pay in? If the goal is, you use it more so you need to pay for it more. But that's not the goal. The goal is that they want to determine behavior. They want to change the way you behave and change your actions. And by the way, I mean the government, not the shadowy, like, Illuminati they. That's not where I'm going with this. But the government does want to control people's actions. And in some cases it's okay. Specifically, I mean, taxing cigarettes on some level, I'm okay with that. There are things about it that I don't like. I think the amount they tax cigarettes is absurdly high, to say the least. Like, I think the last time I looked, cigarettes were being taxed to the point of, like, I want to say they're 500% more expensive with the taxes. And that's just not appropriate by anyone's definition. I can't see why anyone would think that that would be appropriate. It's... They keep saying they raise the prices with taxes, like not with profits. Like, that would be a different thing. If the companies who make the cigarettes want to charge more, our capitalistic society has mechanisms to balance that. If one company decides, if the Du Maurier brand in Canada decides that they're going to charge more for their cigarettes, the obvious response in a supply and demand economy is that another company is going to see that there is demand, and they're going to see the price and it's enticing. So they're going to enter the market and probably have a lower price than the Du Maurier brand, which is going to change the market. Suddenly there will be more supply. With increased supply, the price goes down. Du Maurier will not be able to charge such a price anymore. Like, that just won't be allowed. But by the government doing it, and that means it hits everything across the board, well, more or less, because we do live in Canada, there are certain issues involving Native Americans who have treaties that go back to the formation of our country, which exempt them from tax. So there are certain brands that are made by the Native tribes of Canada, sold on treaty land in Canada, that get around this tax. And because they're the only brand that does this, they can undercut their competition while making a higher profit, which is a little ridiculous and breaks the system just a little bit. And yeah, so that's a thing. Beyond that, beyond syntax, there are other issues with the way our system is set up. There are several really good tax incentives to have kids. Now, I recognize that childcare is really expensive. Very, very expensive. And without some of these subsidies, there are definitely some families that just wouldn't even be able to make a go of it. Like, it wouldn't be something they could attempt. And that's not the goal of our society either, right? Like, we will eventually need more people, despite the fact that the world is overpopulated at the moment, and perhaps now isn't the best time to incentivize children. You can't just make exceptions for everything. That doesn't work that way. So there are things about the system that do and don't work. It is thankfully not profitable in Canada to have children. By profitable, I mean in Australia, New Zealand specifically, if memory serves, you can make a living by having children. And as much as I'm sure there are parents out there who love the thought of this, who adore the idea that it would be so nice if having children was its own reward, if having children allowed one to be a stay-at-home parent, which a lot of even the most ardent supporters of our economy will say, it would be, it should be, like, they do think that there are problems with the current system and the fact that most families don't have a stay-at-home parent. I don't really know if I'm qualified to speak to that. I don't really know if it's making as big an impact as they seem to think. I don't know if the data's there yet. I was raised with one parent at home, which was nice. I was happy. Like, my mom couldn't work at the time. Did I not just get the heal staff? I did get the heal staff. I can't use the heal staff. That's unfortunate. Oh well. But with one parent at home and one parent at work, worked for my family. I had friends who were raised in a house where both parents worked, and it didn't seem to have the detrimental impact that the naysayers claim it does. All that way to get the healing staff, I can't equip it on Blue Mage. And I'm hoping not to be able to equip it on my second crystal, because I'm hoping to have more of a damagey class or a healy class or something. Maybe a Mystic Knight would be nice. Always save. Always save. Long live King Wolves. If you're wondering why I'm not reading as much as maybe I should be, it's because last week I got excited for this. Well, actually 2 weeks ago, when I first heard of this, I got really excited and managed to... Oh, well, the Kenpoji would have probably been better. Maybe if I sell the shields. So last week I got kind of excited. Ooh, I'm gonna have to farm a little bit of cash to get the Kenpojis, and I kind of want those, so let's go farm a bit. So yeah, I started playing this last week. I got quite a ways. So that's why I'm kind of speeding through this part. Oh, that's gonna do 0. When I get caught up to where I was before, I'll probably slow down and read a little bit more, or just do more research on the other screen. Tends to be how I play games. I don't know. There are a lot of opinions on game playing. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. Something I always found interesting. That some people, like, I have friends, we play Magic the Gathering, and I have some friends who feel that net decking is the height of, how could you take pride in a deck you didn't build? And it's not even Magic anymore. And while I can appreciate that standpoint, like, there was a long time where I did not net deck. But there was a long time where I didn't really play competitively either. I think if you're sitting around the kitchen table with some friends, net decking probably is not necessarily the most polite thing to do. I think you're quote-unquote breaking the curve, as they say. And around the kitchen table, that's not really the best thing to do. If you're planning on going to tournaments, or even Friday Night Magic, which is somewhat of a tournament, I don't really see the harm. You're going to warp the meta a little bit, I guess, but if you're playing Mono Black Devotion straight from the internet, and your friend is playing a homebrew with sideboard against Mono Black Devotion, you know what? He's going to have an easier time beating you. As long as his homebrew is on par. Like, unless he's running 50 mountains and a bunch of, and like 50 direct damage spells and not doing it, like, then it's just yeah, my homebrew would have beaten yours anyway. But this is the other reason I like having someone to talk to. It reins me in. I've been kind of rambling. So, I do wish I had heard about this contest sooner. I really enjoy the Final Fantasy games. Always have. Been a big fan. I actually have a tattoo on my arm of the Black Mage and White Mage from Final Fantasy 1. That should be enough to get my armor, I believe. I'm going to run in and check. Haven't really taken a ton of damage. Have Vampire if I did. Kamboji. Oh, I can buy 3 out of 4. That's hilarious. Let's sell some Copper Curious. That gets me enough to buy the 4th one. There we go. Now we go hang out with kings, because I'm the hero. Try and tell him to shut off the crystal, and he's going to be a jerk and say no. I did have a thought during my earlier playthrough. The reaction of people, characters like this king, actually have a new relevance given the light of what's happening in our own world and things like global warming. We have a group of scientists who I respect and trust saying that we are doing irreparable damage to our world, and we need to give up the conveniences of modern life, specifically burning of fossil fuels, to save it. And it's so obvious for us and for the king to say people don't want to give up conveniences. I live a half hour away from where I go to school, from where I go to school, and from where I work. I live a half hour, like, by car at highway speeds. And if I lived in a previous era, if I lived in a time where the conveniences of today didn't exist, like, can you imagine like, what would it do to the price of home ownership in large cities if all the people who live half hours drive and all the people who if all the people who lived a half hour away, all the people who lived 15 minutes away had to live in the city? Because if you are intending on taking a horse what would take a car 15 minutes, you'd have to set out early. You'd have to. You get no choice. If you want to take off on a horse, like my half-hour commute by car would take, you know what, I don't know a ton about horses. I don't know a ton about horses. I'm almost positive that to actively take one that distance would it would have to take a lot longer. Like, I don't know how much longer. I just don't. Sorry. But you'd have to set off for work earlier. You'd have to change your whole timetable. I guess everybody's on arrow now. It would change society. Like, and you can say that, you know, we have hybrids, we have electric cars, there are electric motors, like, that exists. That's a thing. And it's a good thing we have those things. But I live in Canada. Our climate is not conducive to such a thing. Like, that's not something that, like, I can't own an electric car. It wouldn't run half the year. Over half the year, more than likely. Like, you know, what am I supposed to do for the half of the year that it's below zero? And the batteries just don't work. Like, that's... It's crazy. And I'm not saying that it's a bad idea. I think that I really wish that there was a way for us to not burn the oil that we are. I really firmly believe, like, I live in Saskatchewan. I really genuinely wish that we mine our own uranium. Canada has designed the CANDU nuclear reactor. If we built a nuclear reactor, we can power our entire province and stop using fossil fuels altogether. And sadly, that has not been something that people want to do. People are frightened, and I can appreciate that. There have been incidents with nuclear reactors in the past. I think that I can't even say that all the problems are solved, or that, like, I know that they are safer, and I know that they are less polluting. And I'm not playing with Berserkers, in case you were wondering. Can't get that one till later. The tower is sinking. The tower is sinking. Where did we park the dragon? Gotta admit, the graphics for this, for a Super NES game, are pretty good. Hey, it's the earlier sea creature. So, I am often amazed that it is the same group of people protesting nuclear power as are saying we need to get off of oil. It seems to me that that's kind of part of the solution, and it just doesn't seem to be the way people want to go. By the way, I have the page up in the background. So far, because keep in mind today is the first day of the run. But thus far, the Final Fantasy V 4-job Fiesta for Child's Play has raised $6,388. And that's amazing. Well, I have just saved. I'm going to get my next job and do a little bit of research. I will probably continue streaming this tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody. And I'll talk to you later.